They say that age is only a number, and that might be true in certain measures. But the fact is that when it comes to age, it can be a defining characteristic of some as they try and do certain things. Humanity chooses to measure age because it showcases how long they've been around.
Okay, you know what? Let's just agree to disagree, my friend.
But when it comes to animals, we're honestly more or less curious about how long their various species can last. Some have short lives like flies, but some have very long lives as history has recorded. So allow us to show you 10 of the oldest living creatures who have lived on Earth. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. 10. Fatu and Trudy. Western lowland gorillas are a subspecies native to the Congo Basin, and they're the most widespread of all the subspecies of gorilla. Their lifespan in the wild ranges from 30 to 40 years. In captivity, they can live into their 50s and beyond, mainly because it's more of a controlled circumstance, if you will, and thus they can more easily get what they need to survive. The previous oldest gorilla was one named Kolo, who died in 2017 at the age of 60. They were the oldest zoo-born gorilla out there, which says a lot. Today, 2 female gorillas are thought to share the title today though. Fatu at the Berlin Zoo in Germany and Trudy at the Little Rock, Arkansas Zoo are both estimated to be 61. Ozzy, a male gorilla at the Atlantic Georgia Zoo, is thought to be the oldest male at about 58. We would bet that many of you didn't think that gorillas wouldn't last this long in their lives. But that's what goes to show you that when it comes to animals in their lives, we don't know as much as we think we do. 9. Wisdom. Next up, we have a bird named Wisdom. Curious name, but who are we to judge? Albatrosses, whose wings can stretch 11 feet, are able to live 50 years or more. The longest living albatross is in the US, and one of the oldest known wild birds overall is a Laysan albatross named Wisdom. Believed to be at least 68 years old, Wisdom has far surpassed her species' typical lifespan of 12 to 40 years. She's made the news several times for continuing to lay eggs well into her old age. Wisdom returns annually to a nest site at a Midway atoll in the North Pacific Ocean. What's funny about this bird is that Wisdom will easily outlast most humans in the age department, as the average lifespan for a human starts about 70 and goes to 78. Add to the fact that she's still breeding shows just how different the reproductive system in animals and humans are different, because as humans get older, it's harder for the female gender to breed. But for animals like albatrosses, they don't seem to hinder them at all. 8. Ambica. Elephants are a species that are to be treasured and protected, and yet they're killed because of their ivory, because of how people want to showcase their hunting skills and such. But if they were to take a step back and just let them live, they'll see how long these magnificent creatures can last on their own. Asian elephants in particular can typically live in their mid-50s. However, a few have made it into their 80s. Lin Wang, an Asian elephant at Tapai Zoo in Taiwan, lived to be about 86. Another lived to be 88. In the US, there are several US elephants in their 70s, but the one that tops the charts is one named Amica, who is estimated to be 71. There's also one right behind her at 70. So should anything happen to Amica, there's another very old elephant ready to take her oldest living spot. So as you can see, elephants can have long lives if we allow them to actually have them. 7. Fred. This is Fred. Fred is a cockatoo. Fred is also the oldest living cockatoo in the world. Would you like to guess how old Fred is? Fred is 104 years old. Oh yeah, that is a very old bird. This is almost insane for a host of reasons, not the least of which is that the bird has been around for over a century. Not just that, but cockatoos generally have a lifespan of about 60 years, which means cockatoos like Fred go far beyond the normal, and it's frightening. And to be clear, there are others like Fred out there, both today and in history. An Australian sulfur-crested cockatoo known as Cocky Bennett reportedly lived until the age of 120 before he died in 1916. As a certain doctor once said, "That's one heck of a bird." 6. Henry. Tuatara are descended from an extinct group of reptiles that roamed the earth alongside the dinosaurs. These scaled creatures are endemic to New Zealand, where they inhabit 32 islands. The creatures can live up to or past 100 years of age. One of the oldest living Tuatara, Henry, is at least 120. He lives at the Southland Museum and Art Gallery, where there's a Tuatarium habitat. Talk about putting this animal up on a pedestal, right? Henry and his mate Mildred were still laying eggs together as of 2009, when he was already 111 years old, though Mildred was thought to be in her 70s. Still, that's another example of how certain animal species will be able to spawn, even when they're into what we would define as old age. 5. Bowhead whale. This one is more speculative than anything, but there is evidence to back up the age. With a lifespan that can exceed 200 years, the bowhead whale is the longest living marine mammal. In addition to its longevity, the species is known for its namesake noggin, which contains the largest mouth of any creature in the animal kingdom. According to Medical Daily, a group of Inupiat in Alaska caught a bowhead whale in 2007 that had 6 ancient harpoons in its flesh. The harpoons dated to the 1800s, suggesting the whale was about 211 years old at the time it died, though obviously that can't be confirmed for various reasons. However, when you compare them to certain other whale species, it's not that out of the realm of possibility. Certain whales can live well over 100 to 150 years old. It's just incredibly hard to keep track of them and thus tell their true age. If it did live that long, that'd be a testament to the whale's longevity and being able to survive that long, especially with harpoons in its flesh. 4. The Greenland shark. Here's another one that's an estimation, and it's not on a species you think about living too long. In the 2016 study, researchers found that, on average, Greenland sharks have a lifespan of about 272 years. Yet the sharks, which are native to the North Atlantic, can live upwards of 400 years, as evidenced by one very old, unnamed Greenland shark thought to be 400. A potential secret to the species' longevity might be its slow growth rate of 1 centimeter, 0.39 inches per year. It also might have to do with the ocean's conditions that they typically live in, but it's hard to say. And this also calls into question whether there are other sharks that have this longevity, and we just don't know about it yet. 3. Ming the clam. Ocean quahogs, a type of clam, typically live 100 to 200 years. One of these clams, nicknamed Ming, was 507 years old when it was found in 2006 off the coast of Iceland. To calculate Ming's age, researchers counted the bands in its shell. Ming happened to be part of a group of 200 clams that were dredged from the ocean and frozen as part of a research project about climate change. Now, obviously this could be wrong, but there is science to back up just how old it was. 2. The immortal jellyfish. This one is tricky to talk about because it's impossible to tell age on a creature that doesn't age. This is a real creature and is indeed called the immortal jellyfish because of how it grows and then regrows, if you will. Basically, the jellyfish will reach maturity and then de-age itself that it'll be young again until it reaches maturity, and then cycle repeats. The only way it can die that we know of is its physical injury or an infection of some kind. But if it's allowed to live its natural life, that'll be for a very, very long time. 1. Jonathan. Giant tortoises are known for their longevity, as they'll outlive just about anything that is around them most times. One of the best known examples is Lonesome George, who was the last surviving member of the Pinta Island species. He was believed to be more than 100 years old when he died in 2012. Jonathan, a giant tortoise born in the Seychelles Islands, is still going strong. At 187 years old, he's been designated the world's oldest living land animal by Guinness World Records. Since 1882, 50 years after his birth, Jonathan had lived on St. Helena, an island in the South Atlantic Ocean. So yeah, in terms of confirmed ages, the giant tortoise is king, and we'll expect he'll be around for a while, as tortoises are kind of famous for just living long lives. So what do you think? What do you think of this look at the creatures who have lived incredibly long lives here on Earth? Were you surprised by some of the species that had incredible longevity? Do you think that there's a lot more out there in terms of old creatures that we just haven't discovered yet? Let us know in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you next time on the channel.